The movie for replaces, it will be better like that. Ramesh, if you can hand out the source, it will be wonderful. So hello everyone. Hi, it's not a long time, so we'll make it short, and we'll try to stick to the 15 minutes. My name is Idan Rakovsky. As Ramesh said, I'm an avrech in Beit Midrash Zichron Dov and a rabbinic assistant in Sha'arei Tefillah congregation. It's wonderful to be here. It's a wonderful Beit Midrash. Actually, I think it's my first time in here on Monday evening, so it's wonderful to see all the learning going on. I want, in the 15 minutes that I have, to try and offer a more optimistic, I would say, view on current events. When there is the battles are so strong now in the world, and Russia and Ukraine are clashing each other. I said, what can I talk about in 15 minutes? And I said, let's learn a little bit about the utopian prophecy, nevuah, of Hanavi Ishayahu, of Isaiah the prophet, in Isaiah in chapter 11, Yud Aleph. He has this wonderful, really wonderful, fantastic prophecy where he talks about what we call Acharit Hayamim, the days to come, in the future. He characterizes the Mashiach. Who's the Mashiach exactly? What is he going to do? What happens after he comes? And I want to read it with you together. I'll try to offer my little short insights of this prophecy, and I'll try to maybe add a little bit of optimism to this very challenging and difficult times where there is the wolf and the lamb are not exactly sitting and settling together. I'll read in Hebrew, if that's fine. You can follow the English on the left column, and I will read that in Hebrew. So, ויצא חוטר מגזע ישי ונצר משורשיו יפרה. ונח עליו רוח השם, רוח חוכמה ובינה, רוח עצה וגבורה, רוח דעת ויראת השם. ועריכו ביראת השם, ולא למראה עיניו ישפוט, ולא למשמע אוזניו יוכיח. ושפט בצדק גדלים, והוכיח במישור לענבי ארץ, ויקע ארץ ושבט פיו, וברוח שפתיו ימית רשע. והיה, I'm in verse 5, והיה צדק אזור מותניו, והאמונה אזור חלציו, וגר זאב עם כבש, ונמר עם גדי ירבץ, ועגל וכפיר ומרי יחדיו, ונער קטון נוהג בם, ופרה ודוב תראינה יחדיו, ירבצו ילדיהן, ואריה כבקר יאכל תבן, ושעשע יונק על חור פתן, ועל מאורת צבעוני גמול ידו הדה, לא יראו ולא ישחיתו בכל הר קודשי, כי מלאה הארץ דעה את השם כמים לים מכסים. If you manage following in the English one, this is a wonderful prophecy. Very difficult prophecy. We might be maybe one of the most, I think, famous quoted prophecies in the Tanakh. The Gar, right, Zev and Keves, the wolf also shall dwell with the lamb. I want to offer maybe a different reading of this prophecy, trying to analyze it a little bit, trying to understand the structure, the literal structure of this prophecy by dividing it into different literal units. And maybe we can understand a little bit something that is hiding beneath the regular, the first surface of the prophecy. I think when I first read it, not actually when I first read it, but when I prepared the class, and I thought, wait, I want to talk about this prophecy. Let's try to understand what's going on there. I noticed we can divide this prophecy into three literal units. I think the first unit would be verses 2, 3, and 5. When we say, "V'nach alav ruach Hashem, ruach chokhmah v'bina, ruach etzah v'gvura, ruach virat Hashem," in verse 3, also verse 5, "V'haya tzedek ezor motnav ve'emunah ezor chalatzav." Those are verses that explain, first of all, who is it? Who are you, the Mashiach? Who are you? What's your character? How do you look like? What is your skills? What is your ruach? What are you combined of? And look, ruach, 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 ruach. 4 times the word ruach repeats itself in this verse. Now, ruach in that case, when we say ruach Hashem, I think the verse tells us, you know what ruach Hashem means? There's 3 kinds of ruach Hashem. There's ruach chokhmah v'bina, which is his intellect. He's a smart person. There is ruach etzah v'gvura, his courage. He can handle battles if they're supposed to be. Ruach da'at v'irat Hashem. There is also iras Hashem in this ruach, in this kind of ruach. I think there are 3 different kinds of ruach. The other literal unit that I saw, I think it would be verse Aleph and verse Dalet, 1 and 4. ויצא חוטר מגזע ישי ונצר משורשיו יפרה, What is that exactly? I brought this small picture at the bottom of the page. You can see there is this a tree. It says in English, right? There's a rod out of the stem. So there's this tree, this stem, which is cut off. It's dried, but there's a little rod coming out of it, a little plant coming out of it. The house of David HaMelech, Ben Ishai, is cut off for some reason, but something still continues from there and flourishes and continues to become the Mashiach. And in verse 5 it says, V'haya, and in verse 4, V'shafat b'tzedek dalim, v'ochiach b'mishol anvei haaretz, v'hika eretz b'shevet piv, u'veruach tzvatav yamit rasha. I think those two verses are the second literal unit. I think they talk about not who are you, the Mashiach, what is your character, but rather I think they say what exactly he's going to do. What is he going to do in terms of where is he coming from? How is he going to be part of this world? What is his yichus that is coming from? And also, what are you going to do? And he's going to do one thing, folks. He's not going to be a huge, a huge king that will fight many, many, many wars. Some of the Persian would say, but according to this shot of the Navi, the only thing he would do, v'shafat b'tzedek dalim, he would be the judge. His main role would be just to try and maintain justice in the world. Try to maintain tzedek. Just take care of the things that are unjust in the world. If there is something that is bad going on, somebody say it's unjust, the Mashiach is supposed to take care of it. How would he do that? This is the third unit in that case. How would he do that? Sorry, not how he do it, but what happens after he does it? This is the third unit. And those are verses, I think, 6 to 9, Vav to 10, where he says, the Navi now turns into not talking about the Mashiach, but talking about the consequences of the Mashiach actions. We know who the Mashiach is. We know what is he supposed to do. Now let's see what the world will gain from his actions. Let's see how the world would be like. Now the Parshanim discuss if this is exactly a mashal. For example, as the Rambam said, also the Ibn Ezra, this is a mashal, it's a parable. It would be for a kind of utopian universe where countries would not fight each other. Some say this is a literal change in nature. Like the Ramban said also in the Barbanel, in the Rasagin, and it said also this is going to be a real change in nature. But everyone agrees something would change. Something that was harmed, a creature that harmed another creature would not harm him anymore. I think that we can tie all this up by trying to distinguish between two sides in this prophecy. The first side, which is very noticeable, is the nature side in this prophecy. Because look how many elements from the nature appears in this prophecy. We have a tree, right? We have the rod, we have the stem. What else do we have? We have animals, many, many, many animals. We have eretz, earth. The word eretz repeats itself in verse 4. We have what else? We have har in verse 9. After all the animals, we have a mountain. We have mine, we have water, we have sea. Many, many natural elements that surround the world. Not only natural elements, also human elements. Sfatayim, lev, things that are part of the human being. Many, many, many natural elements. But on the contrary, there is 4 times the word ruach. 4 times spiritual elements in this prophecy. And not for no reason, because the spiritual elements, if we just divided this prophecy into 3 literal units, all the unnatural elements, where do they appear? In the first literal unit, which is, who are you? The Mashiach. Now you would think, all the natural elements, where exactly they're supposed to appear? They would appear in who you are, right? Who you are, you're coming from the group of human beings, you're part of the nature, you're part of the existence of the creatures. No, the Navi changed everything upside down. And he said, you know who the Mashiach? The Mashiach is, in this prophecy, the person that deserves and owns the spiritual elements of this prophecy. And what would he cause? How would the word be benefited from him? This is the entire creation. This is the entire nature, the entire natural system that we all live in. I think that maybe in those difficult times, when we see 2 countries, fight each other, which is something that is very difficult to be part of. And he called it the wolf and the lamb, Russia and Ukraine, because in that case there is a wolf and there is a lamb. There is someone who is stronger, by all means, and someone who is weaker. We can try and think about ourselves. How exactly can we contribute to this? Of course, there's donations or some contributions, some we can say itnudvut, volunteering. But also, I think if we take these holy words of Yeshayahu, and we see how he connects the Mashiach to be someone that connects Shamayim v'aretz, someone who takes the nature and takes the nature and brings with him spirituality, brings with him the ruach that HaKadosh Baruch Hu brought him. I think we can try, each one of us, just slowly, just a little bit, try and take something from this ruach and bring it into the natural world. How should we do that? Just as the prophet said so, just as Yeshayahu said so, by striving for tzedek, by striving for justice. If we see something that is unjust, by trying to fix it and to correct the situation, we are going through the word of the Navi, and we're combining Shamayim v'aretz in that sense. And Be'ezrat Hashem, may this limud would be a slight change that can happen in this thing that are greater and bigger than us, and some that are unfortunate in that sense. And Be'ezrat Hashem, may we all feel that we can we'll be zochim to contribute a little bit, to see how we can act. How can we change something that sounds bigger than us, but eventually we'll see that actually it's all up to us also. Thank you very much. Have a good night. Thank you.